to an eDesign Codemakers tutorial for game design. This video is going to get you started in using the Unity game engine. We're going to talk about things like the user interface and how to keep your project nicely organized, and the camera and how to get the camera set up for a 2D game. Let's get started. When you open Unity and you want to create a new project, you go to the File menu and select New Project. When you select New Project, a window will open up and you'll be able to select a path for your game and some custom assets that can help you create more complicated games. I recommend you select a path where there's lots of space because sometimes these games can get pretty big. We don't need any custom packages at this time because they're really only used for more complicated things, and this video is really just to get you started. Let's talk about the user interface. When we look at the user interface in a fresh project, you'll notice a few things. The biggest one is the scene window. The scene window is where you're going to do all of your work. All of your sprites and all of your backgrounds will show up over here. You may or may not see a game window in your default setting view. I use a view called 2x3. This view enables me to see everything in one screen, and therefore I don't have to switch between certain windows in order to see certain things. It's up to you, it's your preference. Let's talk about creating folders. Folders are how we organize all of our game assets that we're going to utilize going forward. Now, all you have to do is right-click and create a folder. You'll notice that a folder pops up in my window to the right here. Let's give it a name. I'm going to call mine Sprites. Sprites is a great folder to create because this is where you can store all of your pictures. We're going to create other folders further on called sounds, animations, scripts, lots of different things in order to make sure that we have things nicely organized. If we have things kind of all over the place, you may lose track of something. And what can happen is that if you lose track of something and don't know where it is, the game can actually fall apart. So it's nice to stay organized. Next, we're going to talk about the camera. The camera is probably the most important piece to realize and understand within the Unity game engine. When we select the main camera in our window here, you'll notice that it has two different arrows. Now in a 2D game, there's only two planes that we can use. They're the X plane, which is the red arrow, and the Y plane, which is the green arrow. Now, the big thing with this is this may look overwhelming and complicated. It's actually not very complicated. If you've never worked in things in math, such as Cartesian planes or something that uses an X and Y dimension, you might find this a little overwhelming. Don't panic. X and Y are very easy to know. X is left and right. Y is up and down. In 3D games, it gets a little more complicated with the Z plane. We are going to talk a little bit about the Z plane, but that's in future videos. This is a basic understanding of how the Unity user interface and camera work. We'll go into more depth in future videos within the eDesign Codemakers tutorials for game design series. I hope you enjoyed this presentation,